Hey everyone, Tim here at Cozy Homestead. Don't know if you all know or are aware, but in just over 2 years, we're going to be celebrating 250 years of our independence. So mark your calendars, get ready to celebrate, because I know we are. We're already planning it. And what I want to do is, over the next 2 years, I want to touch on each day's history during the Revolutionary War, just to refresh everyone's memory of what it took for us to gain our independence. So today's June 18th, 2024. On June 18th, 1778, the Americans retake Philadelphia from the British after they evacuate from Philadelphia. Now, what had happened was in September of 1777, a lot of British ships sailed to Philadelphia in the Delaware, and they landed over 20,000 troops. So the Continental Army and Washington, they took off and they actually went to Valley Forge. The Continental Congress, they went to York, PA. Don't know if you've ever been to York, PA, but it's beautiful up there. I haven't been there in probably more than 30 years, but it's a beautiful place. And in fact, that's one of the original Dunlop copies of the Declaration of Independence was found hidden behind a painting that somebody purchased in York. So, back to the original story. So, with the Continental Congress up in York and Washington and the Continental Army um, being in Valley Forge, General Howe was the British general that had taken Philadelphia. So, after the massive sea landing by the British, Washington and the Continental Army suffered massive thousands of casualties during the battles of Brandywine and Germantown. Okay, um, 20,000, like I said, over 20,000 British troops occupied Philadelphia. But General Howe, saying that this is one of the downfalls of the old style of war. General Howe was extremely cautious. So he didn't want to do anything. He just figured he would just sit comfortably in Philadelphia and wait. Washington's army was north of the city. The occupation was devastating for Philadelphia. Homes and businesses were ransacked and destroyed. Supplies of all kinds were in short supply. Piles of dead bodies laid around the city, and nothing was done with them. The top officers for the British lived in luxury in the confiscated homes of patriots in Philadelphia. So the Continental Army passed through the winter at Valley Forge, starving and freezing in makeshift huts. Okay. The one advantage they had was that this hastily prepared army had time to train. Okay, so at this time, the army, including the militia, weren't really trained to fight the British or to fight war. So what Washington did was him and the Prussian Baron Friedrich Wilhelm von Steuben instituted a strict regiment of firing and marching exercises it made the army better enabled to fight against the British. And they did this once the campaign began in 1778. In October of 77, the army of British Major General John Burgoyne was forced to surrender to American General Horatio Gates at Saratoga. Now, a lot of people consider Saratoga to be the turning point of the Revolutionary War. Me personally, I think it was Yorktown. Okay. This surrender encouraged France to join the Americans, which that it did do. okay, with the Battle of Saratoga. So Admiral de Grasse, who was actually down in the Caribbean, was pretty much ordered to head north to reinforce Washington. As he's heading north, he's being chased by the British. And de Grasse, he says, you know what? No, I'm not going to go north to New York. I'm going to pull into Chesapeake Bay. And there went the Battle of Yorktown. But I digress. Let me get back to the original story here. So, General Clinton took over for General Howe in May of 1778. He immediately began planning the evacuation of the city. You hold the city, and you're going to evacuate, which makes no sense. He didn't have enough ships to move all these troops, over 20,000 troops. The horses, the supplies, everything didn't have the fleet for it. So what he did was he put the loyalists on the ships and sent them up north. He ordered his troops to do an overland march. Now, with that happening, George Washington sent General Benedict Arnold, who had not committed treason yet, to go after Philadelphia and be the military commander. After that happened, Continental Congress returned to Philadelphia. So the Continental Army, they came out of Valley Forge and they chased Clinton's army on its way back to New York. Now, the whole reason why they're going back to New York is because they all want Washington. They know if they get Washington, they can stop this rebellion in the U.S. So, to stop the rebellion, they just wanted to do away with Washington. They knew how much the people loved him and followed him. So on their way, when the British were on their way to New York, and Washington came across the Delaware, they left Valley Forge and chased Clinton's army on its way back to New York, which led to this massive battle of Monmouth in New Jersey. The battle involved over 25,000 men. The battle was essentially a draw. Nobody really won the battle. It ended up with the British back in New York City. This is crazy. And the Continental Army back in White Plains, New York. Now, what's crazy about this is exactly where both armies were 2 years before this. So 2 years prior, they were in the Continental Army was in White Plains, New York, and the British Army was in New York City. So all that, the Jersey campaigns, the Pennsylvania campaigns, all that happened just so they could end up back in the same place. Now, the good thing is the Continental Army was able to take back Philadelphia, even though they did it when the British evacuated. So that's what happened on this date, June 18th, 1778. So remember, mark your calendars, July 4th, 2026. We will have a huge celebration, 250 years of independence. We can do this. Come on, Patriots, come on back out here. You know, it really bothers me that after September 11th happened, you couldn't really go down the street without seeing a U.S. flag flying on almost every house. Now on my street, and there aren't many homes on my street, I'm pretty rural. On my street, there might be 4, maybe 5 out of 10, 15 homes. And the street is over 2 miles long. So we need the Patriots to come back out. Have pride in our country. Be patriotic. Show your patriotism. You can obviously see that we do. I ain't worried about hurting somebody's feelings. I am an American patriot. And I just want everybody else to be an American patriot again, too. Stop with the labels. Stop with all this nonsense. Just be Americans. Be patriots. Be proud of who you are and where you're from. You know, I'm fortunate to live where I live, to where here people don't see color. People are pretty prideful of the U.S., but we need to show it again. I don't want to wait for another act like what happened on September 11th, 2001, to make everybody show that they are patriots. It should be all the time be a patriot. You know, get a flag, fly it from your house. Be patriotic. Do I go a bit overboard with mine? Yeah, but you know what? That's because I'm a patriot. Hell yeah, I'm a patriot. So I hope you all enjoyed this little history lesson. I'm going to continue it over the next 2 years, and we're going to celebrate big time on our 250th anniversary of our independence. You all take care, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next one.